So amidst the mounting tensions with Pakistan in the wake of the 22nd April Pahalgam terror attack, India is shifting gears from grief to grit. A nationwide emergency preparedness drill. It is set to unfold tomorrow, and it follows a series of high-stakes strategy huddles led by the Prime Minister himself in Delhi. The centerpiece of India's response plan includes sweeping mock drills across Jammu and Kashmir and several other states. It's part about readiness, it's part message as well. In Srinagar, the Dal Lake has turned from postcard perfect serenity to the heart of action. And this as the SDRF teams, the State Disaster Response Force teams, have staged that dramatic dry run on water, simulating high alert emergency scenarios. That lake, the Dal Lake, usually a haven for shikaras and tourists, is now doubling up as this strategic demonstration zone, underscoring the seriousness with which India is gearing up. From the valley to the heartland, the message that is going out from India is that India is on alert and the drills are not routine. They're a loud signal that India means business. In fact, we have the latest update on the mock drills. The Indian Air Force is carrying out that exercise over the desert sector and this adjoining areas along the India-Pakistan border. And this is going to happen from tomorrow, we understand, the 7th of May, in which all frontline aircraft, which include the Rafales, the Mirage 2000s, the Sukhoi 30s, they will be participating in this mock drill. This is what we're hearing from the Indian Air Force. This is news that is just coming through, and it's about the Indian Air Force. As part of this mock drill, they're going to carry out that exercise over the desert area and the adjoining areas along the India-Pakistan border. This is also going to happen tomorrow, the 7th of May. All frontline aircraft, the Rafales, the Mirage 2000s, the Sukhoi 30s, are going to be part of that drill. So what can we expect of the mock drills, the civilian mock drills tomorrow? Let's ask our panelists. Joining us on India Tonight is, in a short bit, Naveen Bhatnagar will be with us. He's the former Deputy Inspector General with the National Disaster Response Force. But also, right now, we have with us retired Major Prajakta Desai. She's India's first woman UAV observer pilot in the Indian Army. UAV, of course, unmanned aerial vehicles. So Major Prajakta Desai has this formidable track record in reconnaissance and real-time surveillance operations. So she brings sharp operational insight into India's modern response mechanisms in high-risk zones. Thank you for joining us. Do tell us, Major, I'm sure you've overseen real disaster responses as well, but how different is this kind of mock drill in execution, the kind that we are trying to run tomorrow?
A very good evening to everyone. So the mock drill, the civil defense mock drill that we'll be having tomorrow in almost 244 districts of our country is one of the first that we'll be doing it. You know, first thing first, it's important for all the citizens of our country to know that this is not a case of panic. We do not have to panic, it's preparedness. You know, there's a very beautiful saying that goes in the armed forces that the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. This is a complete preparedness. This is not an indication that India is going on war, but we as citizens are equally responsible for national security as the soldiers are of the Indian Armed Forces. So whatever drills are going on in every district, we have to be very much aware of it. We must be responsible citizens, participate in those drills. So the drills are, you know, different kind of drills. What one must do in case of an air attack, what one must do for smaller first aid, evacuation drills, helping one another. You know, it is not that is too much is expected, but these are the basic things each and every one of us should know. So I think I would like to tell all the citizens here that, you know, we are equally, you know, strong, equally competent as the soldiers are on the borders.
Certainly.
They are competent with respect to the armed forces, and we are competent with respect to taking care of our national security. So everyone must participate in the drills that are going to happen in their respective districts tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well said, Major. But do tell us, this nationwide mock drill, which involves 244 districts, that is no small feat. Tell us about the scale and logistical complexity of coordinating something of this scale.
Yes, so when such drills are, you know, practiced nationwide, first thing first, what happens is, I'll just tell you a glimpse of it. So it will go as per the priority. So first thing first, those districts or those states which are nearing to the borders of our country, sharing borders with other countries, that will be on priority one. Second thing will come the complexity, like the installations, talk about a power grid, talk about runways, airports and all. Third thing comes, where the population is maximum. So the priority goes up to that. Second is the coordination that will happen, the coordination between the different agencies, the government, the volunteers that will be being a part of this. And the third most important part is, as you rightly brought out, the logistics. Well, this will be very critical to say that we would have to coordinate a lot of it. But at the same time, we will get to know where are we complacent. That is number one. And second thing, what are the deficiencies that we are having? This is the first time it is taking place. So obviously, there are little, or there may be some loopholes which we would have to fill in later. So the complexity will stay, but yes, we will get to know how much we should improve upon. And then also the civilians get to know the level of preparedness each one of us should have in case of such exigencies.
Major, but from a military standpoint, how important is civilian preparedness, these kind of drills, when you talk about the broader matrix of national security compared to what you may have known of such drills in the past, perhaps in 1971 as well, with what this kind of stories that we've heard? How are these drills done? What do they truly achieve? Because you spoke about preparedness, but on the ground, in a crisis situation, how prepared does it actually make our civilians?
Okay, so let me give you an example because I come from the aviation, so I can talk about airstrikes. I have served in the air defense as well, and being a part of Army aviation, when an airstrike takes place, if it takes place at night, when we talk about having complete blackouts, and as you mentioned about 1971, when a complete blackout was practiced, people have put, black screens across their windows and all. When such things are done to avoid and to get to know the location of a specific place, because whenever an air raid takes place, it will go and target installations and places which are of high strategic importance. As I mentioned, the three categories where there's a lot of population of people. So in such cases, what we have to do is, we as civilians adhere to the things of having a complete blackout so that not even single speck of light is visible when such air raids takes place. The second thing is evacuation. Why? Because you would also see, giving a very simple example, when an earthquake takes place, there is a critical time that is there where people can be saved from that disaster, where nobody else has to interfere. Similarly, in such kind of eventualities, when casualty has to be evacuated, when people have to evacuate each other and give each other first aid, if our civilians are equally, prepared for it, reduces the load that comes on the paramilitary and the military forces.
Very important pointers. At the top of the show, I was just telling our viewers about the Indian Air Force also conducting drills. They're going to run those jets across the desert sector. And indeed, we are informed of Rafales and Mirages and Sukhois all participating in that drill as well. So alongside civil preparedness, the kind of preparedness that we are seeing on the part of the armed forces, that continues. In fact, on the phone line with us is my colleague from the Times Network. Rishabh is joining us. Do bring us up to speed about what the Indian Air Force has put out, how they're going to conduct the drills for the fighter jets tomorrow.
Well, what we're given to understand that a note of notice to airmen has been issued by Indian Air Force for 7th and 8th of May, very categorically stating that there will be war games around the area. The Southwestern Air Command is the region where the NOTAM has been issued. Remember, this region has important air bases, be it Utalai in Barmer or the Jaisalmer Air Base. These two air bases had been very, very instrumental in 1971 wars as well.
Yes.
Be it the Battle of Longewala or Sadewala. The way these airspaces have been saved by Air Force, this war game happening tomorrow is very, very significant. A, it will send out a clear message to Pakistan that how India is prepared. B, it will also help Indian Air Force to bridge any loophole that come across during the drill. So 2 days of drill that is taking place in southwestern sector, and this is basically the Jaisalmer Barmer area where this whole air drill will take place. Indian Air Force will be using various aircrafts from Gujarat and Rajasthan sector to be participating in this Air Force drill.
But Rishabh, as we understand, these kind of drills have been conducted by the Air Force in the recent past after the terror attacks have taken place as well. Is that right? If you can bring us up to speed with what you've heard so far about those.
Definitely, there has been such drills that have taken place. The Ops Akraman that has just concluded last week, that was happening, but that was something that was pre-scheduled. Ops Akraman is an annual feature that Indian Air Force does in this region, and that was already scheduled even before Pahalgam had taken place, and for that a clear indication was given to Pakistan as well that we'll be doing this Air Force exercise in this sector. But this exercise has been planned now, and a notam has just been issued today. This is a surprise exercise that India is conducting in a way to send clear message. Remember, there have been a lot of narratives being built on the other side of international border, and Pakistan has been going to town talking a lot about our forces, in a way very clearly showcasing what we are capable of.
Rishabh, if possible, do stay with us on the phone line, because I'm talking to a major who has served in the Indian Air Force as well. In your understanding of this kind of drill that is being conducted, Major, do tell us how important is the messaging. Of course, Rishabh is also telling us that from the Indian Air Force's side, it's also about plugging any holes, as it were, when you conduct such drills. But how important is it to send out that strong messaging along with the importance of conducting a drill to have that kind of preparedness going?
So as actually brought out, these drills are pre-planned, and they are there to check the operational readiness of the Indian Air Force. I have been in the Army aviation, but however, I've worked in close coordination with Indian Air Force, being an air traffic controller. So I would definitely tell you that these are to check the operational readiness. Also, when such exercises are taking place now, we have given a clear messages to the neighbors that we are prepared for anything that may come. You know, India is a developing nation. We do not believe in going on full-fledged war, because definitely the economy drops down if you go for a war. But India today, can you hear me?
Major, please go ahead. Major, we can hear you.
Yes, there was some disruption. So what I wanted to say is today India is, I think, and definitely believe in not being offensive, but definitely being determined. And whatever offensive, if planned for us, happens on us, we are definitely ready by the Army, Navy, or the Air Force to give back to the other country.
Since Rishabh is still with us, Rishabh, we've seen these visuals from Dal Lake where the SDRF teams, the State Disaster Response Force teams, they've conducted those drills on water. What kind of, tell us about these drills that have been conducted, and what we've known of these as far as the preparedness of a place like Srinagar is concerned.
Well, the officer was just speaking about this before I joined in, and she was very well, laying out exactly what civil defense means. NDRF DG was also present at the civil defense meeting today that was conducted by Home Secretary earlier today at the Ministry of Home Affairs. And NDRF has been instructed to assess civilians and tell them how to conduct themselves in case there is an air raid, or for that matter, in case there is an emergency as well. In case of fire, in case of any other emergency, if there are hostilities at the border. And NDRF, the visuals that we are seeing on our screens, this is showcasing that how NDRF is carrying out a drill. NDRF has its own way of conducting drills, and this is in a way very categorically showcasing that in case of emergency, how NDRF will respond to it. The location is Dal Lake, and remember, Srinagar will be a hotspot tomorrow as well, where we'll see the civil defense mock drills taking place. NDRF doing an advanced mock drill showcasing people, and especially the boatmen there, how to safeguard themselves in case there is something that is untoward.
And Rishabh, can you fill us in on any more details that you have of the coordination effort, which is going to be these mock drills to be conducted all across the country in these 244 districts?
Well, these 244 districts have been strategically chosen, and in a way, this is the first way that there could be more mock drills that we'll see in coming weeks as well. And if we talk about what are the coordinations, see, in the meeting, we saw the chief secretaries of the state, district magistrate of these 244 districts, as well as the members from NDMA, NDRF, and others as well. In a way, very coordinated effort. Tomorrow, what they're trying to do is to understand what the preparedness level is, and if there are loopholes, if there are any shortcomings, they will try and bridge that. Remember, we cannot expect everyone to understand civil defense in one go. It's been very, very long since such exercise has taken place in India, and India has been peaceful in last few decades. But given that there could be something in future and there could be retaliation from Pakistan in case of our response as well, so these drills are being taking place. What we're given to understand that tomorrow is basically, in a way, a dry run where agencies will look at things, and also agencies like NDMA, NDRF, SGRF will understand that which area needs more coordination and what kind of coordination is required, whether there will be announcements that are required, whether you need awareness campaigns in these areas. So all these will be checked once tomorrow's mock drill takes place.
That, in a sense, gives us an understanding of why the mock drills are being conducted in the first place. Rishabh, Madhavendra, Pratap, many thanks for joining us, filling us in. We'll let you go on that note. But Major Desai, do tell us, given your background with UAVs and tech-enabled surveillance, tell us how much we're integrating enough of the modern tech that is available to us, like drones, like artificial intelligence, in all these civil defense rehearsals that will be conducted.
Well, are you asking me about the role of UAVs in tomorrow's mock drill?
Yes, by and large, in terms of integrating all of that modern tech to get our civil preparedness stronger, how much of a role do they play?
I think since the induction of the UAVs and they taking on, with artificial intelligence, it has taken on a very huge role. This is a time when we are reducing I would say the load that is there on the manpower. It will get significantly reduced, and we are going to have them for complete recce and observance. Tomorrow in the mock drill, if they are used or they are not used, but they are going to be one of the biggest tools that we will be having when it comes in case of surveillance, in case of strikes, when air attacks takes place, in finding out the I would say the casualties, in sending out messages, in having feeds that will be sent to the civil authorities, and also similarly when they are used in the military. So, by and large, they will be a force multiplier, even in the mock drills tomorrow, or even when an eventuality takes place when they might be along, they'll always be along with the military. But yes, with the civil system, they will be a force multiplier.
Indeed, that's a hope. But Major, tell us, what are civilians supposed to do as far as this preparedness goes? How are civilians going to react to the mock drills? Their participation, of course, is something that is expected. And like you said, it's a duty that we have to comply with. But in case of an attack, how are civilians expected to respond? Are we going to learn that at the end of the mock drills?
Okay, first and foremost, as I said, we do not have to panic. This is preparedness and not panic. And again, this is not a declaration of war, number one. Number two, wherever the drills are taking place, please go and participate. So, for example, in case of an airstrike, there'll be a huge siren sounded. So whenever a siren is sounded, the first thing first you have to do is find a safe place for you to hide. Along with you, take all your people along. Now, if you are in your home, you might be having a basement, or you might have a place which is completely secured. Please go there and hide yourself, because big installation and taller buildings are the target of the aircrafts. Second thing, in case you are in the open, you should be staying away from installation. Third thing, what you need to do is lie down flat on the ground, because in case of maybe a nuclear attack, which is very hypothetical that I'm talking here, but in case of, chemical warfare and all, it's important that you lay yourself right down on the surface and minimize every effect that comes on you. Fourth thing, I think you have to know the basic first aid. If a person has got any kind of injury, he's bleeding, or somebody has broken their arm, we must know to immediately give them first aid, contact the nearest center, the primary healthcare center, the hospitals, take an ambulance and take the person to safety. Also, the most important part for us to remember is evacuations. In case such thing happens, you need to evacuate yourself first and help all the people along. So I think, and if people remember that if you practice these things right now, in case something happens later on, you will be having that thing in your head that this is something what I practiced earlier and this is what I have to do. So I wouldn't say 100% people will be ready, but yes, they will definitely get an idea what to do in case of fire, what to do in case of an injury, and what is the basic thing a person has to do to save themselves.
So civil defense and preparedness is going to be a huge ask for the future, not just in the current scenario. We are using that moment right now to be able to get that piece moving. But from Kashmir's calm waters to Delhi's busy skies, it seems India is going to be rehearsing for something that is not coming out of paranoia of any kind, but it is out of prudence. These drills, they're not just about sirens and blackouts. They're about awakening a culture of readiness and resilience and a resolve as well. Major Desai, thank you for your insights and for reminding us that national security is not just the Army's job, it's everybody's responsibility. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Senator.